Thanks for joining me again. Today, we're going to make something really special, near and dear to my heart. But before we talk about what we're going to cook today, I'd like to thank and welcome all the new dreamers to my community. So all the people who are new subscribers, and for the people who are stopping by to see what Dawn Dares to Dream is all about. But let me give you a brief summary of what we're about here. My goal with this channel is to help adults dream again. As we go through life and take on the different roles that we have, we put our dreams on the back burner. I'm here to inspire and motivate you to dream again. Well, today, guys, we're gonna make chicken and dumplings. Chicken and dumplings. I love chicken and dumplings, and I always wanted to know how to make it. And to be honest, I have only made chicken and dumplings one other time in my life. So this will be the second time. I found a recipe on the internet, and in this case, I actually found the identical recipe that I used previously. So we're gonna do that, make chicken and dumplings. It's not as hard as we all think it is to make. So I wanted to show you how easy and simple it really is, and it's an extremely low-cost meal. So if you're, pinching pennies right now, with COVID-19 and not working and unemployment and all that, this is a very inexpensive meal to make. Now, the recipe calls for a full chicken, but I don't want to really use a full chicken, so I'm using boneless, skinless chicken thighs, so I don't have to worry about the skin of the chicken. I like dark meat, and that's what I prefer, but if you prefer breast, then use breast. If you want to use leg quarters, use leg quarters, but I chose boneless, skinless chicken thighs because I get my dark meat, so I get my flavor, and then I don't have to deal with the skin at all. So our ingredients are laid out here on the table. Of course, we have flour, which we're going to use to make the dumplings with, and we're going to use cold water with the flour. We also have garlic powder, onion powder, pepper, salt. We have onion, celery, and also fresh garlic. We have chicken bouillon cubes. Now, I'm using the chicken bouillon cubes, but I typically like to use this other bouillon type of sauce, but I could not find it in the market, so I'm using chicken bouillon cubes. And we're also using cream of celery and bay leaves. So I had to buy some things this weekend when I went to the grocery store so that I could have everything I needed to make my chicken and dumplings. And I'm gonna tell you a little mistake that I made last time. My chicken and dumplings turned out to be more like chicken noodle soup because the broth was kind of thin. So when I do this recipe and I prepare this dinner today, I'm gonna make sure that I incorporate more flour so that it can have the thicker consistency that my grandma's chicken and dumplings and my auntie's chicken and dumplings had when I grew up. So now we're going to cut up our veggies. So I'm gonna take the celery that I've already washed, and I don't want the white part of it, I just want the top rib part. So I'm gonna cut it. Okay. And as I cut it, the aroma of the celery is coming out. I'm gonna take the celery and we're going to put it in the pot. Just like the seafood boils that I do, we want to get the water seasoned up. So that is what I'm doing by adding the garlic, the onion, and the celery. I have been looking forward to this dish for a while now, but I knew the only way I was gonna get it is if I made it. Now with quarantine, I don't think I can go to the soul food restaurants. I don't even know if they're open and get this type of meal, so I do it for myself at home. Typically, because it's so much effort doing a meal like this, I wouldn't do it. But I'm at home anyway, and I'm working from home, and I'm just home. So I figure, what can it hurt? So I'm smashing the garlic, and I do not think I'm going to chop. I'm gonna rough chop the garlic because it doesn't really matter what it looks like because I'm just throwing it in the pot to season up the stock. We're also going to throw the cream of celery soup and all of these other fixings into the pot. And I also have some frozen peas and carrots that I'm gonna add in as well to give myself some veggies in my chicken and dumplings. Okay, so now what we're going to do, we're going to add in the other ingredients into the pot. So I'll start with my bay leaves. And in this particular recipe, we are using 2 bay leaves. I'm gonna put in 3 because I want it to be more flavorful. Then I would say you're gonna put in a teaspoon of each of the rest. But for the bouillon cubes, they said to put in 2. I'm gonna put in 4. I just want a little bit more flavor, I think, than what the recipe calls for. So now we're going to prepare the dough for the dumpling. So we're gonna take 2 cups of all-purpose flour, 2 cups, put in here, and we're gonna put 1 tablespoon of salt. You don't wanna just use the flour and not use the salt because you want your dumplings to have flavor. So there we go, 2 cups of flour. And this is a 1/2 teaspoon, so I'll do 2 of these and that'll be 1 teaspoon. So I'm gonna mix this together to incorporate the salt into the flour. And then I want to, I'll probably have to bring you closer so that you can see this. I'm moving the flour to the sides so that I can put the ice cold water in the center and then incorporate it together and then to make the dough. So as you can see, I have pushed all of the flour to the sides of the bowl. Until now, I'm just gonna pour some of the ice cold water, if you can see that, in the center. Not a lot, just a little bit. And then incorporate in the flour slowly. And that's how we're gonna make our dough. Pour a little bit more ice cold water. You wanna incorporate it slowly. And you're gonna do a total of 3/4 cup of cold water. But you see how it's beginning to come together. We're gonna shape this into a ball. See how easy it is to make the dough for the dumplings? It's just cold water, salt, and flour. Well, now that we have the dough in a ball, we are going to roll it out. So I'm going to dust some flour over the countertop and I'm gonna get my dough roller out. So this is my roller. So I'm going to dust some flour out on the countertop. Because if you don't do this, guys, the dough is going to stick to the counter and you don't want it to do that. You want it to, let me put some let me put some flour on here as well. Because it's just very, very sticky. So you put it down here, and I'm supposed to roll it out to 1/8 of an inch thick. To be honest with you, I'm not sure what that means, but I'm gonna do my best. So you just wanna roll from the center out to the edges. Get that in there. Roll, roll, roll. And after we do all this rolling out, we're actually going to just let it sit for a little bit. Today, I wanted to talk about affirmations and I am statements and why they are so important for us to do. I personally believe that I am statements and affirmations are our way of brainwashing ourselves. I think I better start rolling this out. I think I got it 1/8 of an inch thick. I don't know what 1/8 of an inch is, but I'm thinking I've done a good job here. But when we do perform affirmations or I am statements, we are telling ourselves what we feel about ourselves. And we're doing it in the most powerful way possible. Here. The reason why I say that we're doing it in the most effective way possible is when we hear our own voice tell us that we are great, we are good, we are the best, we can do anything, it does something to our psyche. In a previous video, I discussed the 5 reasons why some of us don't reach our potential. Now, and it was more or less that there wasn't any support in our lives for us. But with affirmations, we don't need other people's support. We have our own. And we are telling ourselves what we can do. And it's powerful. And I call it brainwashing ourselves. Because the more you hear someone tell you something negative, you believe it. That's what happened during childhood. That's why you couldn't reach your potential. But now that you are aware and alert and understand what happened, it's time to reverse the damage. And the way to reverse the damage is through affirmations and I am statements. Now, they say I am statements are the most powerful statements there are. So what you want to do is have an affirmation full of I am statements. I'll give you an example here. I am beautiful. I am kind. I am loved. I am powerful. I am the best employee. I'm just silly. But things along that line, I am a healthy eater. I am a person who works out 3 to 5 times a week. Things like that. Things that you want to do in your life that you're not doing. You want to do these I am statements so that you're telling yourself that you are already these things that you're not doing. And before you know it, you will do the things. And affirmations are powerful, guys. I typically do a lot of affirmations around eating right and working out because that is a major focus of mine. And when I do these statements, before you know it, in a few weeks, I'm working out 5 times a week and I'm eating right and I'm not having an issue with it. I'm not craving anything out of what is in my dietary plan for myself. So affirmations are extremely powerful and you want to make sure that you incorporate these in your day. And how I would suggest that you do that, it would be in the morning. You should read your affirmations to yourself. Maybe in your bathroom, have them already written. Lots of times I'll print mine. I'll type them up and I'll print them out and I'll put them on a wall on a wall that I'm going to see frequently, and I say them. And the thing is this, even when you're not reading them, if they're on a wall where you're going to pass by frequently, you're reading that in your subconscious mind, which is having an impact on your conscious mind. So you want to make sure that you do these I am statements and you read them. I previously would listen to my own I am statements. I would read my I am statements into a tape recorder. That's how old I am. Yeah, tape recorder. Now you would read these I am statements into your cell phone. And then instead of you reading them every day, you could play them back and you hear yourself saying them. And I'm going to tell you, when I first started hearing myself talk to myself, it was a little freaky. But I got used to it, and it's powerful because you could be in a car, you could play it. You could be walking down the street, you could be working out, and you're just playing it. And you talking to yourself in that manner is very, very powerful, especially in the I am format. So if you have a sentence like, I want to work out, that's what you're thinking. You want to write that in an I am statement. So I want to work out would be, I am working out. Do you understand? That kind of thing. Not what you want to do, but what you are doing in the present right now. I am. And it does something to your subconscious mind, and it makes you follow the instructions that you're laying out for yourself. Well, now that we have everything in the pot outside of the dough, the recipe calls for adding the cream of celery soup to the dish. And you can use cream of chicken, but it did say cream of celery, and then it said or cream of chicken. So I got the cream of celery because it happened to be in the market. I'm gonna stir this a little bit. So the dough is down here and I'm allowing it to cool. It said cool for several minutes. So I'm gonna say several minutes is anywhere between 5 and 10 minutes. And not let it cool, but let it rest. Because I guess you want it to come together before you slice it to put it in the pot. Now guys, we're gonna cut up the dumplings and put them in the water. But before we do that, I have my little glass bowl here because I am going to add some extra flour to the water because I want my chicken and dumplings to have a thick consistency. Remember when I told you the last time I made it, it was like chicken noodle soup. I don't want it this time. I want it to be thick. So I have a little bit of flour in here and I'm gonna add some water to that. And I'm gonna stir it up, and then I'm gonna put it in the pot. I added warm water to it to give it this kind of consistency. You don't want to just throw flour in there because it may get clumped all together. But when you add, this is warm water, and you stir, and doing this will act as a thickening agent for my broth. Well, since I added the extra flour to thicken up the broth, I'm going to bring it up to a boil again, because when you boil your gravy, that's how you know the consistency that it will be, or your stock. So I'm going to bring it up to a boil again, and then I'm going to see the consistency to make sure it's what I want, and then I'll add in the dumplings. Because once I add in the dumplings, I can't stir this pot anymore. I shouldn't put anything else in it. So I want to get the thickness that I want prior to adding the dumplings. And that is where I faltered the last time I did this. Well, guys, now it's time to cut up the dumplings and put them in the pot. I believe I have the water to the consistency that I like. So they said 1-inch strips. I really don't know what that means. So I'm gonna cut them up the way I think they should be. And we're just gonna go with that. So let me try and put one in the pot. They told me to pull it apart like that and then drop it in. And once I get all the dumplings inside, I will let you see what's going on over here. Because when we put them in, we're putting them in at a simmer and not a boil. I thought that was interesting as well. I hope I'm doing my Aunt Sis proud today. I loved her dumplings, I tell you. Sometimes that down-home cooking, simple cooking is the best. I'm tasting the broth. It's good and it's nice and thick. I think I might have hit it out of the park, y'all. It's gonna be some good eating. Can't wait to dig in. Can't wait to dig in. Well, I'm all done with the chicken and dumplings. I want you to take a look, so give me 1 second. Here we go. Doesn't that look so good? Homemade chicken and dumplings. I can't wait to dig in. Well, if you liked what you saw and you enjoyed the recipe and you're gonna use it, give me a thumbs up. Also, share this with anyone who could be blessed by this. Someone who you know is having hard times, need a good, inexpensive recipe. This one is it. Also, provide me with a comment. Let me know how you feel. How do you feel about affirmations and how I talk about how it can change your mindset? And are you going to do affirmations moving forward if you don't already do them? Anyway, guys, if you want to subscribe to this channel, my face is gonna be up here in a circle, and you can click on that circle and you can subscribe. And I just want to say thank you, dreamers.